Hi everybody, my name is Alex and this is week 2 of interactive programming with Python. This week we were introduced to the simple GUI module in Code Sculptor. I wanted to get a bit more familiar with the module, so I went ahead and I read through some of the documentation and I created a simple application just to learn the ropes. For my student video lecture this week, I'd like to share with you that process. So let's get started. Alright, so here we are in Code Sculptor. You can see in the window that I've already written the code for the program we're going to create. Let's have a quick look at what the program does, how it looks, read some of the documentation, and then we'll go back and we'll write the program step by step together. So let's check it out. I had the idea to write a simple program that would roll a set of dice when a button was clicked. And we can see that when we press the button, the dice do in fact roll. Alright, so how did we do it? Well, first I wanted to get an idea of everything that we'd need for the program. So on a piece of paper, I sketched out what the program might look like. Inside the canvas area, we have, of course, our two dice, and the dice will each need their numbers. So I thought that we'd be able to accomplish these with polygons, and these with the draw text function. And then, of course, we'll need a button in the control area, which will cause the dice to roll. So let's look at some of the documentation. If we go to Docs in Code Sculptor and then Graphics module, we'll find the simple GUI documentation. We can find out how to make and use all of these different elements of the simple GUI module within the simple GUI module docs. If we click on the Docs tab in Code Sculptor, and then on Graphics modules, we can find out how to first create our frame under simple GUI module frame, how to create control objects like adding a button, how to set draw handlers, how to draw text, and how to draw polygons. So let's go through the code piece by piece. First of all, we're going to import our modules. And here we're going to use simple GUI, of course. We're also going to use the math module. And we're going to use the random module for the dice roll. So now let's go ahead and create a frame and set the background color for the canvas. The frame is going to encompass the entire instance of the simple GUI program that we're creating. So we'll call ours frame and then use the command simplegui.create frame. Give it a title. Let's go with exploring simple GUI. And then we'll give it dimensions. For this one, I chose to use 300 pixels by 300 pixels. And on the left-hand side, the control area is going to be 100 pixels wide. Then we'll use frame.setCanvas background. And I chose to use the color green. Now we're going to need to set any global variables that we might need. For this program, we're going to need the variables left die and right die. So let's give them names. And I'm going to set them to the arbitrary values of 1 for now. If you saw when I first opened the program, they both displayed a 1 before the button click was called. Now we're going to go ahead and define the event handlers. First of all, we're going to need the dice roll button click event. So let's define the function. We'll call it roll dice. And we'll call the global variables that we created earlier, left die and right die, into this local space. And we're going to use the random.randRange, and we'll set the parameters for the range of 1 to 7, 7 being the stopping point, so it can roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. And now we'll define our draw handlers for what we're going to draw on the canvas. So define draw handler canvas, and first we'll do the left die, just add some comments there so we remember what we're doing, and it's canvas dot draw polygon. And for arguments, first we'll do the coordinates, and I've already gone ahead and mapped these out. So after we've typed in our coordinates, we're going to set the width or the weight of the line, the color of the line, and the fill color of the polygon. One thing that's important to know as far as the now let's do the text. So here we use the operation canvas dot draw text, and for our text we want to use the value that's stored in the variable left die and right die. However, the draw text operation calls for the arguments in a string format. So first we'll convert this left die variable to a string. We'll set the coordinates again. Set the font size and the font color. Now let's go ahead and create our dice roll button. Oops. We're going to call the button roll dice, and we will register it to the previously defined roll dice function. That will be the event button click. Now we'll set the draw handler by using frame dot set draw handler, and lastly we'll start the frame. All right, well that's it. Let's launch the application and see how it goes. And there we have our application with rolling dice. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next week.